Inter out of the Champions League, and they played a supposedly Barcelona B team, although it's kind of B team where you get Luis Suarez and Frankie de Jong off the bench. But in the grand scheme of things, I was struck by the fact that Conte seemed so calm, so accepting afterwards. I would submit that it's probably because over the weekend with them drawing at home on Friday night and Juventus losing to Lazio.
The joy you've gotten out of that.
It's awesome. He's 2 points clear at the top of the table. Sensi and Barella coming back in the new year won't necessarily, feel the pressure of having to perform in Europe. Can play the Europa League, play Esposito and go out. And I think it suits the club too because it also means maybe he'll be a little bit more relaxed in terms of demanding reinforcements in January.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to talk about mediocre objectives, then you know what? They've got that right now.
Mediocre objectives is winning Serie A, which is what Juventus have done the last 5 years.
There's very few people who can actually turn around and say to themselves, well, you know what, we're not fighting for the Champions League, so now we can just sort of have a rest,
That's what I mean. But is he kidding himself? I mean, is this kind of like...
I don't think so,
we
because
talked
if you
about
see
it
the
on
way
the
he
show.
celebrated...
No, but this is what... Because we talked about it on the show, right? And I said, so there's, from the club's perspective, silver lining, right? Craig and Stevie were having none of it. I'm assuming you're having none of it as well.
It's not. Listen, my issue with it is that when he left Juventus, he said, I can't work with this team because basically it's rubbish. Yeah. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't actually say that. Yeah. But my point is that he was saying, I need a certain level of players in order to win the Champions League trophy that this club covets so much. You want to compete on all three stages. Yeah. On, for Europe, for whatever, for Inter. Inter can't make money unless you qualify out of the Champions League. Yeah. Now, don't say to me now, we've lost Sensi and Barella, and these are excuses, and this is why we didn't win against Barcelona's B team. By the way, I just came out of doing a pod with Guillem, the Spanish representative, and he didn't even call them a Barcelona B. He called them Barcelona M, because he's saying that some of these players that were playing were so far down the list, that it's crazy to imagine they would have managed such a performance. Obviously, this is from a Spanish representative. I don't know how much I agree with it. Yeah, perhaps that, and I do that. And they were unlucky in many ways, but at the end of the day, you paid 75 million for Lukaku. He got you the equalizer, but he missed about 4 other chances. This wasn't the game. It was about what you did in the group stages, and in many times you threw it away. So I don't want to just blame it on this game. Having said that, is the man doing terribly? Because people get very angry about us not giving, Antonio Conte all the love. Yes, he's doing a fantastic job domestically. Right now, I think, honestly, they're odds-on favourite to actually win the whole Scudetto, yeah?
So
but at the same time, no, it's not good, because I think it's better for them as a club to grow is to make money. And making money means qualifying, getting money to then actually buy and attract the kind of players that would allow you to compete on all stages.
Okay, I mean, I think there's a lot of different things going on here. And I think that in year one, and this is projecting a lot because, by the way, we asked it in December, but in year one, and I don't necessarily agree with you that they're the favourite, but if Conte wins the league and does nothing else, I think that's a success. If he wins the league. It's a big ask still. It's a long way to go.
It's a tremendous success. It's not
it's a tremendous success.
That doesn't...
But if you go... Sorry, just to jump in here, right? That's a tremendous success. But if he finishes second, what's a bigger success? Winning the league and getting knocked out in the group stage? Or, because this is an alternate plausible scenario, finishing second to Juventus and qualifying from the group stage, going to the round of 16, playing Manchester City or somebody like that, getting spanked by a better team and going home.
No, winning the league, obviously.
What?
Obviously, winning the league is a big success.
You see, I don't agree.
Oh, I don't know how we can
I know that they would celebrate that more, but their league...
It's a trophy, Mina. Of course they'd celebrate it more.
I get that, but and I'm saying as in a short-term objective, I think that's amazing, yeah? But I'm saying about winning the league and then doing the same thing next year, your expectations will be high. Do you remember like Bournemouth when they were trying to come up from the Championship? I know this is such a weird thing to say, yeah? But they thought to themselves, we're not ready yet because we want to compete when we're in the Premier League. We don't want to come back down. Yeah. So my point is that like they're building something really special at Inter. They have the capacity to not just compete with Juventus in this year with Antonio Conte, but to compete for the long term. Build slowly, attract the right players, qualify out of the Champions League, and then focus on it.
I'm slightly like I feel like I'm losing the thread of what we're even disagreeing on here. Because first of all, I want to say like I'm not defending the Champions League performance. I think it's really disappointing. I think that the performance last night. I mean, you singled out Lukaku there. Personally, I don't put it on Lukaku, I put it on
No, I
an
don't mean it's
inability
like
to
that.
hold more than a third of the possession against
And
the
Godin, by the
Barcelona B team at home. Now, yes, the midfield injuries have hurt, and I think that one thing, if you want to get into the tactical reads a little bit, I think you noticed, for instance, with Vecino, he wasn't able to add width in the same way that you saw that in the first game against Barcelona away from home, where I thought they played better. Sensi and Barella did really effectively, both of them sort of pushing wide, allowing options as they moved the ball out of defence. I think that Inter's build-up play was really poor in large parts of this game. I think you saw the limitations of that midfield when everything is on Brozovic's shoulders.
Yeah.
But I don't know, to get back to what you were actually saying, like, I don't agree with you that reaching the last 16 is suddenly a much bigger draw than a team that potentially wins the league. I think getting into the Champions League every season is a big, big thing. And one player who I did think about watching this was poor Samir Handanovic, who I think joined Inter, 7 years ago now, thinking to himself, I'm going to play in the Champions League, and he's finally got there, and it's not quite been the dream yet. And despite the fact that for the most part he's done pretty well, he's done what's been asked of him. But I don't know that I can agree with you that going out here is going to stop them from continuing to recruit players. And I think that if they were to win the league, which again is projecting so much from here because that's a long way, but if they were, I think it's hugely significant in terms of long-term building, because that's exactly what Juventus needed to do when Conte first came in. You have to win it once. You have to win it once and say, okay, we're back now. We're actually really competing at the top.
Here's the thing that I'm trying to say to you. First thing, I don't want it to seem like I've actually singled out Lukaku. That isn't my intention. My point is that you decided to spend a lot of money on this guy. You could have spent money on a bigger bench. Yeah, that is just one of the market things that have been spoken about. But you know what? Juventus have spent so much and they still don't have a midfield right now either. Yeah, so it doesn't really mean anything. But what I really do want to point out with this side and with Antonio Conte is that it's you can go and win. And like you said, it's a big if. And this is something that Sarri went all gung-ho about, like they sort of didn't care about the Europa League as much and were like, right, we're going to try to win this. And they didn't. Yeah. So my point is that as a side that is building, it is a lot to bet on this. So why I was saying this is that you're better off trying to qualify out of the Champions League, putting everything you can in it, and perhaps slowly taking it further and further. They know that what they have in Beppe Marotta in their ownership right now is very good, and it's so stable. And they're not just a good team with a good coach, they're a good management at the moment. It's something they haven't had for a while, to be honest, And then having someone like Antonio Conte, who hopefully can commit long term, right now, it's not just, let's do an ego thing and knock Juventus off their perch, because Juventus can always come back off it. I think the experience of playing the second round, of playing in a few more games in Champions League, I think they've learned a lot. They've understood a lot. I mean, Atalanta learned a lot from just 3 matches and onto how to change. And I think that's important.
I think we overstate this narrative. This whole thing about European experience, I think it's one of those tropes that's been with us from like the 1980s when the football really was different. I don't know how much.
You don't think it's different?
Nah, I don't think it's that much of.
You don't think it was a shock when they played Slavia Prague or when Atalanta played Dinamo Zagreb and realised the intensity of their opponents when they expected very easy games?
By the way, Slavia Prague really nearly got a result against Dortmund.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, this is what I mean. It's a much higher level in Europe than what you can have in Serie A.
I think it's very bad preparation to not realise that, not be prepared, not understand how. Europe isn't this weird foreign object that you do once a year where you don't know the players. I mean, that, I think, can't be an excuse. I would lean towards Nicky's point. Obviously, it would have been better to advance. I think, ultimately, what people also forget is, obviously, they didn't, the other night, once they missed those chances in the first half, it was kind of the only way they were going to win. As the game wore on, because they don't have their more dynamic players in midfield, and Barcelona, even the Barcelona B team or M team, as your friend likes to call it, they still have enough quality to keep the ball. And the only way we win the ball back is if you go and you press them. And you can't press them with Vecino, with tired Brozovic, with Borja Valero. It's just not going to happen. You can't do that. You can play that way, but you need the intensity, and you can't have the intensity when those guys have played all those games. So at that point, they were going to lose. It's not an alibi because they screwed it up against Dortmund royally and against Barcelona.
No, but it is an alibi. It is somewhat of an alibi.
It's an explanation for why on the night they couldn't do it.
I agree with that. Explanation, not alibi, which is exactly, I think that's the right way to put it. And I think that the one thing that is a fun footnote to this all, when he was after the Dortmund game, railing about his lack of options in midfield, Antonio Conte. Which aging Chilean, possibly not way convinced midfielder did we all think about that he wanted to sign in the summer?
Arturito Vidal.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.